Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pint Time with Backpacker Mike here, episode 240. 240. We're going to be talking about traveling through South Korea on a budget. And I actually have some cool South Korean beers to try for you guys. All right, episode 240, we're going to be backpacking through South Korea. Special shout out to the Rudians, Rudians. You can check them out right here on YouTube. Search Lion in the Jungle, you will find them. Give them a like, follow, subscribe. Tell them Backpacker Mike sent you. Hole in the ground. So we're going to get into some cool South Korean beers that I found here on YouTube for you guys. And then we're going to get into how to travel South Korea on a budget, like what you can do, how much it's going to cost, all that type of stuff. South Korea I have not been to yet, but it is definitely on my bucket list. I almost did it. Had I not got my flight to Australia, I would have ended up in South Korea eventually. South Korea and Japan. So these are some cool South Korean beers that I found actually right here in Florida in Orlando. It's Descending Tiger Brewery in South Korea, I believe. It's a product of, and forgive me with these words, Sun Chang-gun and Jean Lobok do, South Korea. But I assume it is Descending Tiger Brewing, and these are the cans. They got really cool artwork on these things. It's called Bumpyo, and it's a green grape. I have never had green grape beer before, so this ought to be pretty interesting. Comes in at 4% on the Richter scale, or the ABV, alcohol by volume. Contains barley and wheat. So I'm assuming it's they're a bit like wheat beers, kind of like a Shock Top or something like that. Here's the other one, is a basic ale. And again, South Korean. I have the same brewery, Descending Tiger, I assume is the name of the brewery. I'm going to try these for you guys today, and then we're going to get into South Korea and how to travel South Korea, budget travel South Korea, the costs, all that type of stuff. So first, let me try these for you guys and see what they're all about. I'm going to try the basic ale first, so if you're into craft beer, if you're new to the show, Pint Time is basically a series where I try craft beer and I talk about travel. I have also traveled the world. You can find that on my YouTube, under my playlist, all the different countries that I traveled. This is me walking the Camino de Santiago across Spain, or España, with my buddy Yoshi, backpacker brother Yoshi. He's from Paderborn, Germany, but this is in Spain on the Camino. I've traveled to about 25, 30 countries or so with my backpack, living out of my backpack for several years, and now I'm a caregiver for my soon-to-be 98-year-old father. So I am doing Pint Time for you guys. So let's get into this Descending Tiger. This is just a basic ale. We'll see how good it is. I've never had a South Korean beer before, so this ought to be pretty interesting. All right, here we go. Cheers, pro, slancha, and skull for my Nordic friends. You know who you are. Okay. That is a really good ale. Wow. That is really good. It has a nice bit of blend of like sweetness and bitterness to it, and it's really tasty. Wow, that is a really tasty ale. Yeah, you get all the complexity of a basic ale, but I do believe that it has a little bit of a different punch to it. Like I said, it has a nice flow of sweetness, and also the bitterness, earthiness at the end. All right, let me do a hard pour because sometimes when you do a hard pour in the beer, it changes the complexity a little bit. So we're going to do a little bit of a hard pour here. You guys can see what it's all about. Looks like a really nice ale there. Okay, so when you hard pour it, it just sort of blends all the flavors together. You don't get them in layers. You just kind of get it all at the same time. So you get a little bit of that bitterness, sweetness, the earthiness from the wheat and the barley. This is a really good. This is a really good ale. I got to go with 10. I'm gonna give this Descending Tiger Brewery in Korea a 10 for their basic ale. So this basic ale is probably what all the other flavors are brewed in, obviously. And this one here is a green grape, and I have never had green grape in a beer before. So let's see how this goes. If it's that same ale, which I'm assuming it is, with just the grape flavor, it should be really good. Oh, wow. The nose on that smells like green grapes, like literally. Literally smells like green grapes. All right, I'm going to try this last one, then we'll get into South Korea and how you can travel South Korea on a budget. My voice is cracking? Oh, well, thanks for the information. Let me see what I can do about that. All right, hopefully you got sound now. That you, Yoshi? Yeah, that's you. On PC and phone, I didn't have any sound. On PC and phone, I didn't have any sound. Now we have it. Okay, all right, good. Awesome. I just had a little something turned down there. Too far. All right, so basically for $1 we get 1,380 Korean won, South Korean won. So a backpacker budget in South Korea isn't quite as cheap as I thought it was. So 75,000 South Korean won will get you will be about $54 a day you'll spend as a budget backpacker. Now, on this budget, you could stay in a hostel, dorm room type situation. You could cook most of your meals at the hostel. You could get some really cheap street food too. I'll go into a little bit later, but you're talking like $1 to $3 US to for some good street food. So you could eat some street food too. Use public transit. Do mostly free things like museums, hiking. They have something like 22 national parks there or something. So you can go hike those for free as well. You can go on a mid-range budget too, which is 135,000 Korean won, and that comes out to about $97 a day or so US, give or take. That's probably about the budget I traveled on an average. There were some times I traveled a lot lower than that, $35, $40 a day. Then there were times when I traveled, $80 to $90 to $100 a day. But that type of budget at around $97 to $100 a day will get you basically to stay in a private Airbnb room, like a private room in an Airbnb, a private hostel room. You could get one of those as well. Some cheap hotels or guest houses and things you can stay. You can eat out more often. Now, that's at like a sit-down restaurant type eat out. You can do casual food, casual takeout, fast food, things like that for really cheap. Street food is the way to go though, because you're spending, $1 to $3 US for street food. So you can get really full off of just a few dollars. And then you can enjoy a few drinks and visit like museums that you have to pay to get into, and also do like food tours, which I'll get into a food tour. They're about $40 to $50 US. So I couldn't do it in everyone's currency, so obviously just do the currency for South Korea, for the South Korean won, and in your table there to see what it is in your currency. But let's talk about transportation. So once you get to South Korea, then how are you going to get around South Korea? So I always took public transit. I either took public transit or I took Uber. I did Uber, things like that. Other than that, it was public transit more often than not. So use public transit in all of the major cities. They even have subway systems like in Seoul and some of the larger cities, with one-ways costing about 1,250 to 1,350 won, which is really cheap. It's about $1 US for one way on public transit, like a subway system or a bus or whatever. You can also get a day pass for about 5,000 Korean won, and that's a little over $2 or so for a day pass. So you could spend $2 for the entire day, hop on, hop off on the public transit. Buses, taking long distance buses, that's the cheapest way to get around South Korea. And it's the most popular way to get around South Korea, honestly. There are two types. There's a long bus, and then there's an express bus. So two types of long buses, sorry. There's an express bus, which basically is express, so it does very few stops along the way. It travels mostly between the major cities. And then also the inner city, there's a few stops on the inner city bus, and it makes more stops between smaller destinations and not so much the larger destinations. Sakshi, guess what my age is. Guess what my age is. All right, so the best way to book these tickets is just go to the nearest bus terminal that you find where you're staying at and book a ticket in advance there, or for that day if they have buses going out that day. Pricing depends on what level you want to ride in. So you have like luxury and then they have premium, right? So for instance, a 4-hour bus ride from, say, Seoul to Busan costs about 36,000 Korean won. which comes out to about $26 US, which is cheap to go that far. And that's just a standard bus ticket, so that would be your premium bus ticket. The train, they have a really complex, robust sort of train system there in South Korea. And the trains mostly run between the major cities, and they'll make a few stops along the way. They actually do have a bullet train too, which is the Korean Train Express, the KTX. It's the country's bullet train. It runs up to speeds of 305 kilometers per hour, or if you're in the United States, 190 miles per hour. That's pretty fast. It only goes between the major cities, though, and it has very limited schedules, and it's also more expensive than the regular train. So I would just recommend taking the regular train, which is the Korail, which is basically the national rail service. I would recommend taking that anyway. Plus, it travels a little bit slower, but you get to see more of the countryside. I mean, unless you really need to get somewhere fast, I would just take the regular train that travels at slower speeds. So, but you can get an unlimited Korail pass as well, which is offered exclusively to international tourists, actually. So a 2-day pass will cost you 121,000 won, which that comes out to around $90 US. So that isn't bad, 2 days. And then also you can get a 5-day pass, which is 210,000 won, and that will cost you $120 US. So not too bad. 5 days, $120. Now, obviously, that goes into your daily budget of what you travel daily. But there you have it. So trains and buses are your best options. They do offer Uber there. I believe they do in some of the major cities. So you could do the Uber option as well. And then, once you're there and you figure out how to get around, all right. All right. Thanks, Yoshi. See, that's so weird though, because like when I shoot the videos, like when I do my TikTok videos and stuff like that, it's really not that bad, but oh well. I just got to order another mic. I'll take this thing off. Maybe that'll be better. Is that better? Maybe I just take this thing off. The diffuser off. But yeah, I was looking at mics the other day, Yoshi. I was looking at mics the other day to try to get a new mic. So I just got to decide which one I want to get. But anyway, once you get to South Korea and then you figure out, how to get around South Korea, then it's like, what are you going to do while you're in South Korea, right? So explore Seoul, obviously. Okay. All right, Yoshi. But Yoshi, is this better? Okay. Is it better with the diffuser off? Anyway. Not really? Okay. Well, then I'll just put it back on. I see the thing in there. Oh, well. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll just have to order another one. All right. So while in South Korea, you got to visit Seoul. You got to do Seoul. You got to visit the capital city. It's a global technology center and hub, basically, with sleek, modern neighborhoods like Gangnam. I believe that's it. That city is, or that song is named after that city, Gangnam Style. It's an iconic sites like the Alate World Tower or Lotte World Tower, which is actually the sixth largest building in the world, which I didn't realize that. With many museums, palaces, temples, and 5 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Check out the amazing street food scene, trendy restaurants, and much more. Really cool pubs and things like that, too. Problem sounds like the membrane. Like pop up softly, so keep it on your mic. Okay. Oh, you mean the thing? I gotcha. I can see that thing through there when I pull that off. It does wobble around, but I thought it was supposed to wobble around. All right, toward the DMZ, right? Whenever you go to South Korea, people, think of the DMZ probably. So you can actually visit the DMZ and what's called the JSA, or the Joint Security Area, which has military personnel from both sides, from North Korea and South Korea. You can also step into the North Korean side and have your picture taken, and then step back. There's a big circular area there, and it has like the line in the middle of it, and there's a building on one side, building on the other side. You can see Freedom Bridge, and you can catch a glimpse of North Korea from the Unification Tower at the top. So you can see a little bit of North Korea, or the Unification Observatory, I should say. The next thing you want to go visit is a Hanok village. These historic villages are comprised of what's called Hanoks, which are like basically traditional Korean houses. And some of them date all the way back to the 14th century with these houses. The most popular is Jeonju. I'm probably going to say these wrong. With its 800 Hanoks. And the UNESCO designated Gyeongju, Yeongdong, and Bukhan, which lies in the Seoul metropolitan area. And you will find restaurants, cafes, museums, bars, accommodations, and all kinds of stuff in these areas. So that's definitely another place you want to go check out, those old type villages. You can also visit Chandeokgung. I'm sure I'm messing these up. Palace, and this is a 15th century complex. So it was built in 1400s. It was built in harmony with nature, so in balance with nature, and it's built at the foot of the Bugaksan Mountain. It's known as the Palace of Prospering Virtue. I'll get it right. Prospering Virtue. And it was the main royal residence for 13 kings over 3 centuries, which is crazy. It's comprised of 110 acres, and 60% of those acres consists of the Huan Secret Garden. That has over something like 15,000 species of plants and trees and things like that planted in it. And the admission is only 3,000 Korean won, which is roughly about $2 US. So that's nothing. You can easily do that on a budget. Name sounds funny. Like, yeah, exactly. They're hard to say sometimes. So I'll do my best. All right, the next one, the other place that you want to go see, I should say, is Busan. B-U-S-A, Busan. It's South Korea's second largest city next to Seoul. And it's located just about 2 hours from Seoul. And you can reach it on the KTX train, that bullet train, or you can also take the cheaper train, the National Rail. It's a coastal city, which is cool. So you get to go to some great beaches while you're there. The Gamcheon Cultural Village is there too, and it's known as the Mural Village of South Korea. And it's a hillside village rich with rich street art, and they paint all these murals on the buildings. All of the buildings are painted in bright colors, so there's not any like drab colors or anything like that. So that would be kind of a cool place to go visit. The looks of it a little bit, and like how it sounds kind of reminds me of like a Caribbean type landscape there, as far as, the bright colors and all of that stuff. Another thing you want to go do, you have to go do, especially if you're in Seoul, is the National Museum of Korea. It's located in Seoul, and it covers all aspects of Korean culture, art, history, national treasures, artifacts, all kinds of stuff. It also, I believe, incorporates when it was in a whole country and not split in half in North Korea and South Korea and all that stuff. But they also have like the 6th century gilt bronze Buddhist statues there and more. And the admission is free. So why not go, right? All right, and another thing you need to do when you're there is take a food tour. Now, some of the food tours can be a little bit pricey, but you get a lot of food. Sometimes you learn how to make the food, things like that. But Korea has a great wide variety of amazing dishes, and including amazing street food, which is really inexpensive. So taking a food tour with an experienced guide is the best way to experience the amazing food of South Korea, for sure. On Go Food is a company that offers a lot of cool varieties of food tours in Seoul, Busan, Jeonju, Jeju, and it all starts around 70,000 Korean won, which is about $50 US. So, but you're going on a food tour, so you're going to get a lot of different foods to try, and all that stuff. So not a bad deal there. Now that's like that's a 1 day budget thing there for a budget backpacker. If you're traveling on that $54 a day budget. So, but if you're traveling on like that $100 a day budget, then you probably could pull this off and try it. But I would definitely do a food tour in South Korea if I was there. All right, let's go through a little bit of accommodations, and then we're going to wrap it up here. But a hostel dorm. So like if you want to stay in a hostel dorm, like a dorm room in a hostel, like 8 to 10 beds, you're looking at about 14,000 to 25,000 Korean won, or about $10 to $18 US, which is pretty standard depending on where you're traveling. Lots of times in Europe, you can find hostel dorm rooms for, $12, $15. I think I spent $17 or $18 in Edinburgh for a dorm hostel. Edinburgh, Scotland. If you want to get a hostel private room, that's going to be about 40,000 won, which puts you at about $25 to $30 a night US. A budget hotel is about 28 to 40,000 won. So again, a budget hotel or private room in an Airbnb, they're going to be about the same. Airbnb private room, where you just rent a room in someone's house where they live. That actually isn't that bad. It comes out to about 25,000. So again, it's about the same. All of these places are about the same to stay. And an Airbnb whole house, if you wanted to stay in a whole house, it's 50 to 70,000 Korean won, which is about 36 to 50 US dollars a day. So not too bad at all is when it comes to accommodations. Then you get into the food. So let's talk about the food. Street food, like I said, is your cheapest option to get while you are there. And that'll cost you about 1,500 to 3,000 won, which comes out to about $1 to $2 US. So not bad at all. Sit down restaurant is about 9,000 to 30,000 won, and that just depends on whether you're at a fancy restaurant, a basic restaurant, or whatever. And that is $8 to $12 a plate. So not too bad at all. Casual takeout is 4,500 won, and that's $3 to $4. And then, of course, you got your fast food, McDonald's, and all that other crap that's out there. That'll be 7,000 won, or about $5 to $6 US. And then a beer. You can get a beer like this beer here from South Korea will cost you about 4 to 5,000 won, which is anywhere between $1.50 to $3 or so for a beer. So not bad. So is South Korea doable on a budget? Absolutely. It's a little bit more pricier than some of the other countries, but then again, you got that South Korea, Japan. They're all semi inexpensive to travel to on the US dollar, the euro, or the pound, but not quite as cheap as the Southeast Asian countries like Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and things like that. They're somewhere in between. So there you have it. What do we got here? Up 8 in the fourth. No way. Restrepo, long touchdown. That's crazy. I can't believe it's college football day here in the United States, so my team's playing right now. So my buddy was just messaging me and telling me that we actually came from behind and went up. That's pretty cool. Anyway, all right. So there we have it with South Korea. So yeah, it's definitely a place that you want to go visit. Definitely a place you want to do, food reviews or whatever at. Really amazing culture, beautiful scenery, beaches, mountains, like everything you could think of. So South Korea is definitely a bucket list thing, country that you want to go see. And everything I've seen or read about the people, and I know a few American South Koreans, and they're really nice. One of my best friends was actually from South Korea. His parents were. He was first generation U.S. born, but he was a super nice guy. His name was Mo, and unfortunately he passed away about, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago or so. I was traveling. And I was messaging him one night and sending him pictures of me traveling and walking the Camino. And we were joking back and forth. And then like 2 days later, I got a message that he passed away from a heart attack, which is crazy. So anyway, but yeah, he's a super nice guy. So, but yeah, South Koreans are really nice people. Anyway. All right, guys. Well, I guess I am going to get on off of here. Yoshi, maybe I'll see you over on Facebook. Again, if you're not following me on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, I'm on all of those too. If you just go to Google and type in Backpacker Mike, you will see me on like the whole first page, basically. If you're not subscribed to me on YouTube, that would be amazing if you could do that as well. And we'll go from there. So, yes, Facebook. All right, Yoshi, I'll see you on Facebook. I got to shoot a couple TikToks before I get on Facebook. And I will be over there shortly, probably in the next 10, 15 minutes or so. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me on Pint Time with Backpacker Mike on episode 240 about how to budget backpack through South Korea. And even tried some amazing South Korean beers. Pretty cool. It was really good. Both of them got a 10. So the other two I'm going to do on Facebook are probably going to get a 10 as well. We'll see. All right, guys. Thank you so much for the support and watching Pint Time. I truly appreciate it. And as always, peace, love, and let's continue to experience this beautiful world together. I'll see you guys next time on Pint Time with Backpacker Mike. Peace.